What's up? And Natalie Payton, how are you doing? Let some people join in. Ooh. I'm going to sit down for a minute because I can. Sydney, what's up? It's Lily. Thank you, Sarah. Hey, Keehan, can you hear me okay? Just wondering. Typing struggles. This is fun. Yes, Lily, I turned 20 again today. Almost. Yes, Sarah, that was a strategic move. You see, because I'm so old now, I let the beard grow for a full year and 3 months to make me look ancient, and then I shaved it all off, and now I look, 27 again. So this was all, a year and a half almost in the making. So it was very strategic what I was doing. Thank you for noticing. Thanks, Miles. Appreciate it, buddy. Nice. Good job, Sarah. Gracie. It's the Perry house. Is it just Bella, or is it Bella and Adam and like the rest of the family? Like, who's all with the Perrys? This is going to be hard, by the way, to keep up with typing to everybody. I'm going to try my best, but if I leave you out, it's not personal. All three. Yeah, Natalie, I had a plan. See, y'all thought I was just growing a long beard just because. Oh no, I don't do anything just because. There is always a motive. Timson. Saw your dad today, Timson. Always a fun time when I see Dad. Miss anybody yet? Nope. All right, cool. Adam, is this an appropriate beard length? Do I look a little more professional now? Just wondering. Tennyson, I had no idea. Wait, what? I wasn't listening. Oh, got you. It's good. Okay. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. I get Adam's, seal of approval on this thing. I'm good. I'm golden. I am going places. Lonely, Gracie. Been very lonely. There's nobody here. All right. Like, Nobody. But aside from being super lonely, I'm okay. I think I'm going to make it. Thanks for asking. The more important question is, how are you doing? That's the bigger question. Yeah, Kehan, you called me on that one. You see, in order to have such a great beard like I did, every once in a minute, you just have to make it all go away and kind of let it regenerate. It's a painful process, but you know, it's what helps it grow so well. But I'm not entering any beard competitions anytime soon, that's for sure. In case you're wondering, I have like a gigantic TV like right over here. That's why I keep like looking this way. I know it's rude. I should be like looking at you guys, but then I can't see what you're saying. So I'm just gonna look over here. Thanks, Mom. By the way, Natalie, I saw that you got your hair did today with all sorts of colors. My word. Looks cool. Kind of jealous that you can do that kind of stuff with your hair. Eli. See, Eli, I remembered from last week who Gamer9 Smith is. See? Dum dum dee dum dum. Thank you, Jack. See, we can't play music because YouTube might strike it. So thank you for providing the house party jump mix right there. Appreciate it. Hey, Moreland. Yes. But Scoggins and us are almost neighbors. Felt like a unicorn. Awesome. Yeah, Scoggins are just down the road from us now, which is super cool. And rumor has it that there's a lake kind of near their backyard or in their backyard or something like that. So I'm just saying hub house parties, you know, those things should be there. Like summer hub house little, that should be at their house because they got a lake. I don't have a lake. And even if I did, I wouldn't get in it because that water's dirty and I don't do dirty water. So there's that. Hey, Blake, miss you, dude. Blake, we need to meet like in the front yard tomorrow or Friday and just hang out in the front yard for a few minutes. You know, appropriately 6 to 10 feet apart, but at least get some FaceTime with each other. You know, just hang out and stuff. You can throw pine cones or something at each other. That'd be fun. See who else is gonna hop in tonight. Let's see. Keehan's got a funny story. Can't wait. It's not funny, dude. So I thought my professor died. Waiting for the funny part. Keehan, there's a punchline coming, and we're all like on pins and needles right now. I think you have Eli really concerned. You know, he's typing in capital letters again. So There sounds like there's concern there. Jack, if you have a cat named Jerry, shouldn't you automatically have a dog named Jerry? Jack, you're missing the more important question, friend. The more important question is, why do you have a cat anyway? That's the bigger question, all right? Still can't find any purpose for cats yet. I'm trying. Just can't do it. Almost 7. Thought my professor died today. He didn't post anything this week. Good thing is he just likes to teach creative writing instead. Blake! You're here. Natalie, we have like so many Blakes, and I don't know. Yes, I also agree with Eli. Cats just I don't get it. Blake and Blake show's about to begin. Next week. No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. There's one cat that I think I have found that I kind of sort of like, and it belongs to a Smith. It's Lena and Bradley Smith. They have a cat that's like 90 pounds. Like, no joke. That thing is huge. That one I kind of liked. I kind of liked it only because it was basically the size of a dog. It's pretty cool. What's up, Katie Patterson? I have no idea what that is. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. I'm not even going to try. 7 o'clock. We are about to start. Give everybody a couple more minutes to roll in. We'll see who's joining us. This is fun. I enjoyed the chatting. Miss you guys. Lily, you still there? Where you at, Lily? We got somebody else. Who's that? Is that Emily? Taking a guess. I have no idea. I can't tell who that is. Who is that person? Who is this person? Who is that? What's too quiet, Keehan? All right. Here we go, guys. Hey, I got 701 on my watch. We're going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate you hopping on the live stream tonight and joining us from wherever you are. Maybe you're in your living room. Maybe you are in your bedroom. Maybe you're outside on the porch. I don't know where you're at. I'm in this gigantic hub all by myself is where I am. So I appreciate you joining us, hanging out for a little while. We're going to have some fun tonight. And here's what I thought we would do. If you saw our Instagram post earlier today, we're going to do a little mixer, 2 truths and a lie, Frank edition. And I have three statements never before heard from you guys. All right. And I'm about to post them in the comment right here. 2 of these are going to be true. 1 of these are going to be a lie. And you have to comment below which one you think is the lie. And it is coming to you in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, there they are. Here are the 3 statements. 2 of those are true. 1 of those is a lie. I once stole $5 and bought a dictionary with it. I once set my sister's four-wheeler on fire. And I once ate half of the snacks of a blind kid that my mom used to babysit. 2 of those are true. 1 of those is a lie. You decide. Comment below. How horrible of a human do you think I really am? Let's see here. See some B's coming in. These all sound like Frank. Yes, Eli. They do, don't they? Keehan says C. I mean, because that would just be mean, right? If my mom really did babysit a blind kid and I was eating that kid's snacks, that would just be low down. But it's not like he would ever know. I see some A. A is a lie. Carson seems very confident that A is a lie. Because if you steal $5, like what I have right here, why on earth would you buy a dictionary with it? That's stupid, right? Why would you do that? Who would buy a dictionary? Exactly, Jack. Exactly. Lucas, what's up, my man? Really, is that shade? Like, you saying I would be the one to buy a dictionary? Come on, dude. That's not cool. All right. Anybody else? 2 of those are true. 1 of those is a lie. I stole $5 and bought a dictionary. I set my sister's four-wheeler on fire. Or I once ate half of the snacks of a blind kid that my mom used to babysit. Let's see. Give you like 10 more seconds to hop in and do this 2 truths and a lie. I will tell you this. There's definitely some of you who are right because we have all 3 options guessed up here. I'm looking at who are some of our right people. And there's a couple of you. Moreland says A is a lie, I think. Yes, Natalie, no one in their right mind would buy a dictionary with $5 stolen. Nobody. Why would you do that? All right, Perry family. I didn't see you comment, Perry family. Which one's the lie? Where you at, Perry's? I want Adam to get in on this. Eli, you wouldn't have to buy a dictionary. You already have it all memorized, dude. Keehan says it's C. All right. I don't know what the Perrys are going to guess. A is too lame. That's why I chose it. That's funny. All right. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for which one of these is the lie? Somebody say yes. Lucas says yes. All right, Lucas, here we go. Letter A is true. I stole $5 from my mom when I was in elementary school and straight up went to the book fair and bought a dictionary with it. So A is 100% true. That means it's between B and C. Yep, I was that super nerd in elementary school. Letter C, I once ate half of the snacks of a blind kid that my mom used to babysit, is 100% true. I totally did that jump because, like I said, they would never know. And my mom used to babysit 2 kids when I was like really small. And one of those kids, I believe it was actually the sister, she was blind, just couldn't see nothing. And every time it was I know, Kian. I'm a terrible human. Every time it was snack time, Mom would give me a plate of cookies and a glass of milk, and she would say, "Okay, Frank, go take it." I can't remember their name. I was so young. And on like my way from kitchen to said dining area, I would drink half and eat half of their snack, and just be like, "Here you go." So that leaves letter B is the lie. I never set my sister's four-wheeler on fire because she never had one. I did, though, set her three-wheeler on fire, straight up burn that thing up. But it was a three-wheeler, not a four-wheeler. That's a different thing. So a couple of you are right, man. I'm really proud of you guys. I'll go back through the chat later tonight and see who all guessed letter B as the lie. And we might throw you guys in a hopper and see if you can't win something fun. But yes, now you know how terrible of a human I am. Lucas, I have no idea why. I really don't. I don't know why I did that. I stole a dictionary because to make your lies sound more true with big words. Sure, Keehan. That probably was what I was thinking there. That was a fun game. I like that game. It's a lot more fun live and in person than it is like this, but it's okay. Here we go. This is just what we got. Hey, again, guys, look, I know this isn't ideal, and I know this isn't what we really want to be doing Hub Midweek this way, and to have to get super creative and just deal with some of the awkward on, how we're maintaining groups and stuff like that. So I do appreciate you guys being patient with us and being understanding. But at the same time, man, we still want to serve you, and we still want to know how we can serve you. So stay in contact with your small group leader. Stay in contact with me. There's a discussion board on our YouTube page that you can type in prayer requests or just different things. Just keep us in the loop, right? And as this thing continues to go on, whether it's for 1 more week or 6 more weeks or 19 more weeks, we don't know. That the commitment that I want you guys to hear from all of our Hub peoples is that we're still here for you. And it just might mean we have to show up in your front yard and kind of talk from the street to your front porch a couple of times. But let's not allow this time of social distancing to keep us from maintaining the relationships that we have with each other, and just making sure that we're still doing the things that make us us and make us awesome. All right. So here we go. Let's do this. Let's transition. I want to say a quick prayer for us, if that's okay. And then we're going to jump into a new area, man. We're going to a dark place tonight. All right. So let me pray for us, and I'll tell you what we got going on. All right. Let's pray. God, thank you for this evening. Thank you for our students, for those who are watching online, and for those who will watch later on. God, I just pray that you be with us tonight. God, that as we read from your word, as we struggle with tough scriptures, that you will encourage us, that you will remind us of your truths and who you are, and that we will just kind of hold firm to those promises, even in seasons of questions, in season of doubt, where we're struggling. Lord, would you help us to maintain our trust and faithfulness into you? We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. So what's really sad about tonight is if we were together, if we were in the Hub all together, we had an epic, and I mean an epic food fight plan. We were going to throw down on a food fight tonight, and I'm talking about gross, nasty food. I wanted to kind of recreate the scene from 4 years ago when Amy got hit in the face with a cow's tongue when we played cow tongue football. That was a great night, by the way. And we wanted to do that tonight and just have a gross, nasty food fight in the Hub. And as a way, we can't do that online because it just doesn't have the same effect. We wanted to illustrate in a very fun way. Yes, Eli, go ahead, throw food at your laptop. That would be hilarious. We wanted to illustrate through this food fight, just how messy life can get. And that seemed like a very lighthearted, fun way to just, get gross, nasty, but then to go into this time of talking about the reality that we know life can get hard, and life can get painful, and it can get ugly, and it can get messy. And I believe all of us have experienced that side of life before, and I think during those times, especially if you've been reading the news the last week, last 10 days, if you've read anything about what's going on in the United States or just across the world, sometimes these messy periods of life cause you to ask questions. And a lot of times it's the why question. Like, why is this happening? Why did that happen to that person? Why didn't this happen to this person? Why can't we all get along? It feels like when we're in this season of doubt, or when we're experiencing like really painful trials, that why question pops up a lot. And when we have that time, when we're asking this question, I often wonder, how does this connect with our faith? Like, as I'm looking across the landscape of our community and our culture, and I'm seeing what I'm seeing happening. All right, when I start asking why, is that really indicative or a reflection of where my faith is in God at that moment? So, like, for example, as I see folks who are struggling, or when I read something about a kid who's maybe really ill or sick, or maybe something even more tragic where a family's killed, in a really freak accident, and I look at that and I see that and I read that and I'm like, God, why did you let that happen? Like, why them? And why then? Why at that time? Or why did that person have to die at that age? When I start asking that why question, does that mean that I have a weak faith? Or like when I really start asking some of those tough questions about why God, does that mean I'm starting to doubt God's goodness, that maybe he really isn't as good as I've always heard him to be? And here's what I want us to hear tonight. We're gonna jump into a book in the Old Testament, the book of Job, and we're gonna read about some scenes and events in his life. And I want us to know that as we read through this narrative, we're gonna see that question asked a lot. God, why? God, why? God, why? And I really want us to walk away tonight when we're all done with this, and when we close the chat down and we kind of go about our night, I want us to walk away still firm on some things about who God is, and namely like things about his character, right? And I want us to walk away knowing that the circumstances that we're experiencing here, no matter how good, no matter how bad, no matter how painful, like those things never chisel away at the character of God. Like, God is who he is, regardless of how things are going down here. And I need us to see that tonight. So we're going to study about a guy named Job. And I'm just going to go ahead and warn you, this is a dark book in the Bible. Like, it's painful, man. It's hard to read. It's painful. And after you get through reading it, if someone were to ask you questions about it, say, okay, hey, explain to me what you just read. Like, it's even harder to explain. It's even harder to understand just because of everything that's happening. And as we read through Job, it can really cause you to ask some tough questions about God. Like, even Job was asking some of these things like, why is there this kind of suffering? Why does this kind of evil happen? Does God actually cause this? Like, when we see stuff happening in our culture that's really, really bad, some people want to start asking, like, does God actually cause this thing to happen? Or something that I asked when I was a kid, I was in elementary school, and I asked my pastor at Waverly Hall Baptist Church this question: hey, if God is so good, if God is so big, why doesn't he just like get rid of the devil now? I remember asking him that question on a Sunday morning, and I can't remember what he answered. I remember asking him that question because I was wrestling with this idea of, if God is good, then why are all these things happening, right? So Book of Job is about a man who, it seems like he has everything that you could ever want in life. Man, like his life setup is pretty awesome. And then everything in a moment, when I say everything, guys, I mean everything starts to fall apart. So let's do this. If you got your Bible with you, maybe it's a paper Bible like this one, maybe it's on your phone, you're online, so you can just hop over to Bible Gateway and navigate through that way. Let's go to Job chapter 1, and let's just get an idea of what his life was like, all right? Let's kind of see what he was living with, what things were like on this day that he woke up, and then we'll see what happened right after that, okay? So Job chapter 1, we're going to start reading in verse 1. Somebody give me a go-ahead in the chat that you're keeping up and that you're hearing me fine and that we're ready to go. Job chapter 1, somebody give me an okay takeoff kind of sign. Yes, Adam, I feel bad. Go for it. Thank you, Kian. Here we go. Job chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz named Job, and he was a blameless and upright man, one who feared God and turned away from evil. All right, we're learning something about who this guy is, what kind of man he is, okay? And there were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he possessed 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and many servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. All right, guys, if we're Job, okay, what we just read says that this dude had it all. Like, just by cultural standards back then, in this day in the Old Testament, Job was a wealthy man. He was wealthy in that he had a large family. He had daughters, he had sons, so he had heirs that he could pass things on to. And then you look at kind of the herds that he had, the numbers of animals that he had. Wow, like this guy had a lot of stuff. And it wasn't just that he had a lot of stuff. Notice first, before it mentioned anything about what he possessed, it talked about his heart. It talked about his character, that he was blameless, that he was upright. He feared God. So like, he wasn't just a good man. He was an honorable, righteous, just man. Like, he valued his own personal holiness. If you've been around me, or if you've been up to Snowbird, repping the shirt tonight, and you've heard Brody or Spencer talk, you've heard us say this phrase a lot, that like, your personal holiness is one of the single most important things that you can give anybody. Right? And what we learn about Job right in the first verse is that he valued his own personal holiness, and at the same time, he possessed a lot of stuff. Okay? Let's see what happened. Let's jump down from verse 3, hop over to verse 14. All right? Job woke up. It was a normal day. He was doing what he would normally do, and then these things started to happen. And there came a messenger to Job. And he said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them and took them, struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone escaped to tell you. All right, so now there's an attack happening on Job's property. That's in verse 14. And let's keep reading. That was verse 14 and 15. Verse 16, though, while he was yet still speaking, there came another messenger and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned them up, the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I alone escaped to tell you. Whoa. All right, so now we got back-to-back guys coming to Job. One guy with some bad news, and then immediately after him, like he's probably just finished talking, another guy comes and says that this thing has happened. Let's keep reading. Verse 17. While he was yet speaking, there came another messenger. The Chaldeans formed 3 groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone escaped to tell you. So now we're up to 3 people coming to Job practically all at the same time saying, hey, Job, I got some really bad news, man. Like, your whole herd is dead, and also all the servants that were tending to them. And it's like, as soon as that guy finished talking, another guy came up and said, hey, Job, I hate to tell you this, your whole herd is dead, and all of the servants that were working that herd, they're dead too. And like 3 guys right in a row come to Job and tell him this news. Let's keep reading verse 18. And while he was yet speaking, guys, like, can it get any worse? While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house, and a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they're all dead, and I alone escaped to tell you. Guys, this is not a good day for Job, right? And we're not making light of what we're reading here. Like this is the worst of the worst kinds of days, where you wake up thinking everything's going to be fine. It's a normal day. I got plans. I got things I'm doing. And like, I can't wait to experience these things today. It's on my schedule at 2:00 to do this. And then out of nowhere, 1 messenger, 2 messengers, 3 messengers, 4 messengers come to Job and start telling him, hey man, everything that you've ever valued, everything that you've ever worked for, everything that was yours, like it's it's gone, and not just gone, like it's dead. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do, and I know this is going to be hard because you're not Job, and hopefully, prayerfully, you've not experienced anything like this before. But let's just play a hypothetical. If you were Job and you were hearing this same thing in real life, how would you feel? Like, what would some of your emotions be? And this is a time in the chat to be like ruthlessly honest, like not just bad or angry or let's see what some people are saying. Sydney, I would feel lost. Yeah, Sydney, that's a great descriptor there. Like, how would you even know what to do next, right? Keehan, you're kind of like me. I would think it was a joke at first, just kind of like, yeah, okay, not funny, but you're joking, right? Discouraged, Sarah? Yeah, definitely discouraged. I see a lot of depressed in there. Moreland, that's interesting that you would feel defeated, like you wouldn't have anywhere else to go at that point. Like what left would there be for you? I get that. That's cool. Despair. I think we're all seeing a very similar thing here in the comments. I've not seen anything positive come up yet, because how would you, right? Lucas, I wouldn't even know, man. I'd feel disappointed, not knowing how to get back up again. Lucas, that's super honest, dude. Like I wouldn't even know, right? Anybody else? Confusion? Yeah, Blake. Yeah, very confused. All right, so this isn't just a made-up story, right? This is a real thing that happened in a real guy's life who had a real home and real family and real livelihood, and these things happen. And I want all of us to see. Maybe you know how this story goes. Maybe you don't. You're brand new to it. I want you to see how Job responds, okay? Because we got your responses here. And every one of these, I think, like 100% true, 100% honest, and you could amplify those emotions times 100 if it was really happening. All right, let's check out how Job responded, though, because I think it's really important for us to see, okay, remember, we learned something about his character way up here in verse 1 and 2, that he was blameless and he was upright. He was a just man. So let's see how a guy like that reacts when everything that's important to him is now gone. All right, verse 20. Then Job arose. This is after all of these guys told him this news. He arose, he tore his robe, shaved his head, fell on the ground, and worshiped. Guys, can we just pause right there for a second? He went through this initial reaction of probably, like you guys, despair or I don't want to say depression, but just like immense emptiness and sadness. He did something real customary when you're mourning or when you're experiencing pain and grief. He tore his robe. He shaved his head. Like, those are all customary things that they would do back then to kind of signify a season that you're going through of loss. But then it says he fell on the ground and he worshiped. And verse 21 says, then Job said, naked I came from my mother's womb. Naked shall I return. The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in all this, Job did not sin or charge God with any wrong. Like, what on earth? Guys, like this is crazy. It is okay to read this passage, this opening chapter here, and to read Job's response and be like, what? He did what? He said what? He reacted how? Man, guys, this is mind-blowing to me, because Job gives us a glimpse, like a clear glimpse at his faith. Because what he's actually saying, like in all of this, like, it's not that he isn't sad, and it's not that his heart isn't empty, and it's not that he doesn't have questions. Like, he's not putting aside all of the painful emotions that we experience, right? He's not putting any of that aside. But here's what he's saying. Like, in his initial response, he's saying, hey, God, in all of this bad that I just heard, you are still good, and nothing changes that you are still good. Like, this is what he's trying to remind himself of. Like, right here, God, you're good. I can trust you. You give, you take away. That's all in your hands. I don't have anything to do with that kind of stuff. I'm going to submit to your authority. I'm going to submit to your lordship. And God, I'm going to trust that you will help me get through this. Okay? Like, it's amazing to me, his presence. Because look, I'm gonna be honest. Like, the herds, right? The animals. Okay, I would get over that pretty quick. I mean, I would be really upset, but I would move past that pretty quick. But as soon as that messenger came about my family, that's where you hit me in the feels, right? And that's where, like, my emotions would get so, like, that I don't know if I would be able to have that kind of posture of worship. I'm just going to be honest with you. I would struggle with that. And Job is like, hey, here's the deal. God, you are good. And today has sucked, but you are good. And I'm going to make sure that I pause and worship you for who you are. All right. You know what's interesting in this story? Not everybody had that same reaction. You know, who was left out of all of this bad, right? Think about it. All the animals gone. All the servants gone. His sons and daughters gone. Who's left? Who's the lone person with Job now? See, somebody types it in the comments. It's him, and who else? Who's the other person with Job? Kids are gone, servants are gone, animals are gone. But then there's the wife. Yep. And let's see her response. Okay. So we got Job's response. Let's check out the wife's response. We're going to be in chapter 2. We're going to start in verse 7. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with sores from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. He took a piece of broken pottery, this is Job, in which to scrape himself while he sat in ashes. And his wife said to him, do you still hold fast to your integrity? The wife says, curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women who would speak. Shall we receive good from God and not receive evil? And in all this, Job did not sin with his lips. Guys, this is interesting, man. The wife had a real honest reaction to all this too. She looked at Job like he was crazy. Like, what are you doing, man? Just curse God and die and be done with it. This is awful. And then Job still holding true, right, to his character and to his blamelessness and to his own personal holiness and to his submission to who God is and his authority. Job's like, hey, how is it that we can accept all the good from God, the large herds and the property and the wealth and our amazing kids and family? How can we receive all of that good, but also not receive the bad? Man, Job's asking some tough questions here, and I think he has a really strong, connection in his faith. Like, I want to try to perceive things how I can. It's in a right way. Okay, God, you're good. Everything you do is good. When you give, it's good. And when you take away, it's good. And I'm going to be okay with that. All right, I got another question for you guys. I'm not going to put this in the chat, but I do want to kind of hear you guys comment in there. If you were Job's friend, right, and you were seeing all of this happen, and you come up to Job like after all of this, where do you start? Like, how do you start to bring him any kind of comfort or any kind of encouragement? Like, as a friend, what would you do? Would you like just sit with him? Would you try to say something encouraging? Would you not say anything at all, but just kind of be present? Pretend like you're one of Job's friends, and all of this just happened to your best friend. What would you do? How would you respond? What would be your reaction to this as his friend? Let's see what some of you guys say. Eli's like, I'd talk with him. I'd pray. Kehan, I wouldn't say anything. I would just sit there and be with him. Okay. What's up, Bradley Smith? I don't know if you can. I don't think I could say anything that would help. That's It's pretty honest, right? Like, what words make any of that any better? We'll see somebody else. Lucas says I'd give him a big old hug and pray with them. Tennyson, I wouldn't know what to say. I guess I'd just kind of sit there. I see a lot of the similar things. Like I just wouldn't know what to say. Or I see a handful of you kind of say a similar thing of I would just be present. Like I would just be there. If you need me, great. But I'm just gonna sit here. Trying to read through some more of these. Yeah, you're one of Job's friends, and you just watch all of this stuff happen, and now it's just like you feel like you need to do something. So what do? Hey, what's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us tonight, man. It's good to see you. In a situation like that, just being a shoulder to lean on is probably best. Words would fail me. Absolutely. There's no way that I could say anything good. Natalie, I love that. I would just tell him my cheesy jokes. Like that. Those are those nervous jokes, right? We're like, okay, this is so awkward. I just gotta say something. Someone needs to laugh. I love that, Natalie. That's hilarious. Keehan, I'd refuse to leave. I'd just stay there. All right. Here's the interesting part of this story. Job has some friends that come, and I want us to see for a quick glimpse. And by the way, guys, the story that we're reading tonight, it's like 42 chapters long. It is a long story, so we're not going to be able to cover every bit of it tonight, but I want you to see some different highlights of what's happening. Job has 3 friends. He's got 3 friends that come and pay him a visit, and I want us to see a little bit of what these friends do. We're going to be in chapter 2, and specifically, I want us to look at verse 13, okay? Because these 3 friends come, and they just kind of hang out with Job. Chapter 2, verse 13 says, they sat with him on the ground for 7 days. 7 days. No one spoke a word, for they saw that his suffering was very great. So I think a couple of you guys nailed this. When some of you said, I would just go and just be there. Like I would just be there with them. They sat on the ground, not for a couple of hours, not for a couple of minutes, not for a day, for a full week. Just sat there and didn't say anything. All right, some of you, I love you a whole lot. You know that, but there's no way some of you guys could do that. There's no way some of you could be quiet for that long. Like that awkward silence would get to you so fast. All right. Some of us would be like, that's my kind of friend right there. One that will come and just not say nothing. And I can be around that kind of person. This is tough, right? 3 friends come, they sit, they're just quiet. They don't say anything. Man, but here's a problem, guys. We're about to get into the bad side of this story a little bit more. All of chapter 3 is when Job breaks his silence for the first time. Like when we start chapter 3, verse 1, after this, Job opened his mouth, and for the next 26 verses, he just kind of unloads vomit words of emotions. I mean, he just lets it all hang out. And his friends are listening, and his friends hear him. And then after Job finishes in chapter 3, that's when his friends start to speak up. And guys, it wasn't good, all right? For the next, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish chapters, it goes on for a long time. These friends kind of go back and forth with Job. They have this little dialogue with him, right? And it doesn't go well. Let me give you a summary of what these friends say to Job, right? In case you weren't paying attention. Job had a really bad day. Everything that was ever important and valuable to him is now gone, all right? Job has sat for 7 days with 3 of his friends in pure silence on the ground. Job has now spoken for the first time in chapter 3 and just unloads on them all of his emotions. Here's what his 3 friends say over the course of the next, 10-ish chapters. One friend says, hey, Job, I love you, man, and this is why I'm here, but I need to tell you, this is all your fault. Okay, here's what we're about to hear are things that you don't say to somebody who has had something like this happen to them, okay? One friend says, Job, this is all your fault. Here's why, Job, because you know this, man. You're a righteous guy. Bad things don't happen to innocent people. This is what one friend said. Bad things don't happen to innocent people. So really, Job, you got to be guilty of something. Maybe you're forgetting something, but you're definitely guilty of something. Okay, not what you say to somebody who's just had a day like Job, okay? Another friend in chapter 8, this is crazy. I'm going to flip over here because I can't believe he said this. Another friend in chapter 8 said, hey, Job, I love you, and this is why I've sat with you for 7 days and just listened, but, your kids probably deserved it. Whoa, time out. All right? Again, I don't care about the cattle and the herds and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not worried about them. I can go buy more of them, but I can't remake, that same kid again, right? And this friend has the audacity to say to Job, hey, Job chapter 8, verse 4, if your children sinned against God, then he's delivered them into the hand of their transgression. So probably why that tornado came and blew their house down on them and killed them was because they were hiding some sin, and God was just doing a just thing and judging them for that. So they probably deserved it. Yes, Moreland, that is harsh. And again, if you really care for your friend, that's not something you ever say to them, ever. There's never a period of time where that's okay. All right. That's like not cool. And it gets worse. All right. There's another friend who says, hey, Job, I love you, man. And I love you because I've been sitting on the dirt with you for 7 days, and I've been listening to you, and I've been hearing your heart. But Job, I just need to tell you, you should be thankful because this could have been a whole lot worse. Yeah, you should read that guy's response when he said to Job, be grateful that it's not worse. Time out. How could it be any worse? Okay. How could it be any worse? Because I think Job would argue if I died, that would be better, not worse. So explain to me how this could be worse, right? So this friend says, be thankful that it's not worse. One friend said, your kids probably deserved it. It's okay. Another friend said, this is all your fault. Job, the only person to blame here is you. These friends go on lecturing and lecturing and lecturing. And then finally, Job had enough. And Job kind of calls his friends out and says, hey, guys, shut up. Everything you're saying is super hurtful right now, and it's really not helping. And Job cries out in this pain, in this anguish, and in this mourning, God, why? God, give me an answer why. Tell me. Help me understand why. I'm not doubting who you are. I'm not doubting that you're good. I'm not doubting that you're sovereign. I'm not doubting anything about you, but I need some help, God, because none of this makes any sense. Why? See, Job wanted to know, and in chapter 38, God answers Job. And if you were kind of watching some of our teasers for tonight, you saw on our Instagram that, hey guys, sometimes our questions, your questions, they just don't get answered. And what we're about to see in just a second is God gives Job an answer. God addresses this cry for help and this cry for an explanation of something, but it's not exactly what Job had in mind, and it's really not what Job wanted to hear. Because in chapter 38, God answers Job, and basically what Job asks is, God, why? And this is what God said, chapter 38, verse 4. Hey, Job, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Hey, you're asking me why? You're asking God why things happen. Job, where were you when everything was formed? Go over to verse 12. Hey, Job, have you ever commanded the morning since your days begun and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the skirts of the earth and the wicked to be shaken out of it? Hey, Job, have you ever told the sun to rise? Guys, if you wanna read something about God making a comeback at somebody, read chapter 38 and 39, because even though Job is asking, I think, a pretty fair and honest question, some of the intent or motive maybe behind it is starting to poke a little bit maybe at God's character. And God reminds him very quickly of a couple of things. Hey, Job, you want to know why? Here's why. I'm the creator of everything. Job, you want to know why? Here's why. Because I'm bigger and greater and more powerful and kinder than you could ever imagine. Job, you want to know why? Here's why. You are so small compared to me. God goes on this tirade of reminding Job his place in the whole ladder of creation, right? And God doesn't necessarily address specifically why did he allow these animals to die, or why did he allow the kids to die? God never addressed those things, because I know God absolutely understood and knew really what Job was wrestling with. Because Job wasn't wrestling with why did my kids have to die and not just the servants, or why did my flocks have to die and why couldn't the servants been spared? He wasn't really wrestling with that. He was starting to wrestle with, okay, is God really as good as I've always believed him to be? Job was starting to wrestle with, is God really, really in control? We would use the word sovereign. Is he sovereign over everything? I mean, because I've always believed that, but now it's like, I think Job was starting to have a little bit of doubt. He was starting to ask that question in kind of a ways where God was like, hey man, let me remind you of some stuff. Who's the one that makes the sun rise? Who's the one that laid this foundation? Guys, read chapter 38 and 39 and 40 about God's response to Job here, because God lays into him of reminding him that, hey, I'm God, you're not. I'm in control, you're not. I'm sovereign, you're not. I'm kind. Like God reminded him of his goodness and his graciousness and his mercy in the midst of all of this pain and all of this suffering. Hey, Job, don't forget that I'm gentle. Like, don't forget that. A few weeks ago, when we were during our last Wednesday night in the hub, we talked about that you're not alone in your questions, that it's okay to have questions. And it's okay to have doubts. It's okay to struggle with things. But remember what I told you, all right? I said this in week 1. I said this last week. I'm going to say this again this week. I am perfectly fine if you have questions, if you struggle, if you have doubts about who God is and what God's doing, as long as you know 2 things, right? As long as you first know the source of absolute truth. Guys, we unashamedly teach that the Bible right here, this book, is the ultimate source of truth in our life. That it possesses every answer to any question that you have. Now, it might not answer the question as exactly as you want, but there's an answer for everything here. This is our source of truth. We believe this, we teach this, we hold to this, right? And we submit to this. And then I also told you, hey, know the ultimate source of truth in your life, and B, actively seek it for the answers that you're looking for. So as you struggle, as you have doubts, as you have questions, as you wrestle with tough things that happen in your life, maybe in your past, maybe right now in your present, maybe for some of you guys, you haven't experienced the hardest days of your life yet. That could be days, months, years down the road for you. Whenever that time comes, just know, at least this youth pastor right here is perfectly fine you looking at God and saying, God, why? I need you to explain something to me. As long as you're holding to, what the ultimate source of truth is in your life, and you're actively seeking this for those answers. Okay? Just a couple of things there. Remember, God doesn't shame us for our questions. We talked about that last week, that God doesn't shame us when we have these questions. We talked about Thomas and Gideon, who had really, really tough questions, and God never shamed them, right? He gave them answers, and he addressed it. And tonight, what we're telling you guys tonight is that our questions don't always get answered, at least in the way that we want them to. Like, I don't think God's ever going to just leave you hanging out there with nothing. He just might not answer it directly the way that you're asking. Like in Job's case, instead of really directly answering what Job was asking, God was just reminding Job of everything about God's character and how nothing, and guys, I mean nothing, chisels away at the character of God, right? God is righteous and is always righteous. God is holy and is always holy. God is blameless and is always blameless. God is just and is always just. God is gentle and is always gentle. Like, he's always those things. God is love and is always love. And there's no experience, there's no circumstance, there's no situation in your life that takes away those character attributes of God. There's nothing. Like he is. And that's what God was reminding Job of. Hey, Job, don't forget who I am, right? Let me remind you in 2 chapters of who I am, sir. And don't ever doubt that about me. And know that I'm here with you and that I'm fighting for you. See, the way this story ends, as painful as it began, it actually does have a happy ending. And I think after reading 41 chapters worth of Job, you're like, this is the worst, saddest book in the entire Bible. Why is it in here? When we get to the very end of this story, we see how God restores Job. And we see how God gives him above and beyond everything that he ever had. And I want us to at least take a second and read some of this. We won't read the whole thing. But Job chapter 42, verse 10, okay? And just so you guys know, like at the end of chapter 41 and starting in verse 42, starting in chapter 42, Job kind of backs off. He's like, okay, God, you know what? Yes, I am so sorry. I forgot those things. Please forgive me. I repent of that. Forgive my heart. It got a little crazy there for a minute. And after Job kind of had that reconciliation moment with God, here's what we read. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that you can do all things. Man, that's awesome. Like Job saying, I know you can do that, and that there is no purpose of yours that can be thwarted. That's a fun word to say, all right? And as you kind of read through the narrative here, verse 10, and the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he had prayed for his friends. Interesting that the friends get brought up in this. And the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Twice as much. And the Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. He had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 female donkeys. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. Think about that. Verse 16, and after this, Job lived 140 years and saw his sons and his sons' sons 4 generations. Job died an old man and full of days. What started off as a really, really tough, awful story ends with some reminders about who God is, right? And the way this story kind of ends is reminding us some things about the character of God and the nature of God. We learn in this book of the Bible that God is sovereign, that he's in control. He handles everything, right? That our suffering doesn't go unnoticed. And young person, whoever you are out there watching this, I know there are some of you right now who are hurting. I know that because we've either talked about it. I know that because I'm a very aware and perceptive individual, and I see how you're saying that, and you're giving those cues of, man, right now things aren't good. And I'm also just not naive that, and with the number of people watching this, there are going to be some of you whose day, like right now, emotionally is equivalent to what Job went through in the opening chapters. Like you feel like your entire world is just done. And here's what I want you to hear, that as great and as grand as our Lord is, and he is awesome, and he is big, you are not too small for him to notice. And he knows everything that you're going through right now. And it's not just that he knows it, because I know that's not good enough for some of you. It's not just that he knows what you're going through. It's that he wishes and seeks and pursues and chases after you to redeem that back. Like, see, we see God being willing to bring redemption out of the tough things that happen in our lives if we allow him to. And just kind of knowing that as I'm going through some of the hardest, darkest, most painful times of my life, God doesn't just notice it, but he's actively involved in redeeming that back to something good, right? We know that pain and suffering doesn't last forever. That's a comforting thing to know that, hey, it might last for the rest of this life, but I know if this life were to pass, as Paul says, to be absent in the body is to be present with the Lord, and that for me to live is Christ, but to die is gain. Like, I get it. Like, this pain doesn't go on forever. Hopefully it gets fixed while I'm still alive, but even if it doesn't, if I were to pass, like I know what I'm going to is so much more glorious than what I could ever experience here. All right. And as we close up tonight, here's something that I think I at least want to say, and I'll let you wrestle with this because I get it. Some of you are probably still struggling with the idea of, yeah, but Frank, why does God still let this stuff happen? Like I get he's good and he's gracious and he's sovereign. I get all that, but why? Still why? Can I just remind you something? That God didn't create us or create this world that we live in to be the way that it is currently, and then one day, fix it and make it the way he wanted it to be. Right? Don't get things out of order. Remember, when God created, when God made, he made everything perfect and right and just beautiful. And Adam and Eve and their sin in the garden wrecked it, like fractured creation. So just know that God wasn't just sitting around and creating things in this world to be painful and hurtful and nasty and ugly and gross so that he could then send a fix-it plan. No, he created things to be good and to be wholesome and to be full of life, something that we would enjoy and love and be a part of. And sin's messed it up, man. Sin has totally wrecked it. But God's not satisfied with that. He's not okay with that. He's actively seeking to redeem that through his son, Jesus. And I just need us to know and remember that God will deliver us through Christ from this suffering, that Jesus is the thing that is, actively redeeming creation back to the way it once was. And man, my hope for you, my prayer for you guys, wherever you are, is that you start understanding that a relationship with Jesus helps in you understanding why things are the way they are. It can bring healing, it can bring comfort, it can bring encouragement. Like, okay, I can start to understand a little bit more. But even more than that your relationship with Jesus is the thing that brings you into eternity. And man, like his desire and constant pursuit of you to walk in a relationship with you, it's relentless. He doesn't stop pursuing after us. So my prayer for us tonight is that we would turn to him, that wherever you are, whatever you feel like you've done, just know that there's nothing too bad that he can't redeem, right? There's no sin that's so bad and ugly or disgusting that he can't, with his blood, say, hey, that's washed and that's white as snow, okay? And I want to say a prayer for us, and if you'd like, I'd love for us to hang out just for a few more minutes. I'm going to pop some questions down in the chat, and we'd love for us to keep going just for a few more minutes if you're cool with it. But let me say a prayer, and then I got 2 announcements before we go. God, thank you for this evening. Thank you for a time to hang out with our students and with some of our families virtually. Lord, we thank you for this ministry that you've given us here at Calvary. Help us to continue to pursue after you in the midst of our pain, in the midst of our good, in the midst of our successes, and in the midst of our failures. Help us to not ever doubt or question your goodness and your faithfulness and your trustworthiness. God, allow us to constantly search and pursue Scripture to bring us strength and the foundation for us to live and to walk on. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. In case you have to go, I'm going to go ahead and say this part first, and then I'm going to hang out for a little while. I'm going to throw some questions down here in just a second. But in case you have to go, we're going to do another Instagram challenge. Nora, you won last week's free pizza, but I got something better, and I'm going to be rude. I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to get my phone because I'm about to put a post on our Hub Instagram. We're going to see if my phone's still awake. It is. All right. I just posted on our Hub Instagram a challenge for you. So hop over there at the Hub CBC, and here's what I want you to do. Go to the picture that is that just now posted. It says, what's your favorite ice cream? This is all I want to know. So like that picture, comment down below what your favorite flavor of ice cream is, and also tag a friend. And that's all you got to do. And someone tomorrow around noonish is going to win a pint of your favorite ice cream, unless it was like something super bizarre, like pickle flavor ice cream or something stupid like that. I'm not going to get that for you. It's just not going to happen. Okay. But go to our Instagram, like our picture that we just posted a second ago, comment down below what your favorite ice cream flavor is, tag a friend while you're at it. And someone tomorrow around noonish is going to win a pint of your favorite ice cream. I will deliver it at some point. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's Friday. Whenever we announce that winner, we will let you know. Here's something. I'm just going to throw this down in the chat. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Always happy to see the Adam Perry hanging with us. So Adam, thanks for hanging with us tonight, man. I'm going to post this question into our chat, and we're going to see what you guys think about it. My dad wants to know, are you canceling the Snowbird? Bella, no, ma'am. I am not canceling Snowbird. Snowbird has canceled Snowbird. They took that decision right out for us, which is crazy. So no, Adam, what we did was all the spots that we reserved for this spring's men's retreat, we just applied that to the fall. So I think we bought up like 15 spots when we registered. We just moved that to the fall retreat. So I can get you those dates later on, and you can go ahead and clear your calendar if you can. That way you can be a part of it. So no, Snowbird pulled the plug on that thing, said, no way. We love you guys, but you get 300-400 men all together in close proximity, we're all going to get corona. So they went ahead and called it. Hey, which thing that God says stuck out most to you? It's kind of something I want us to maybe chat about for the next few minutes if you want. I'm going to grab a seat because I'm tired of standing. And if you have to go, just make sure you say bye before you go. Don't be rude and just leave and not say bye, because that's not cool. That's not what friends do. Friends say bye before they leave, okay? So just make sure you say bye if you have to. But what was something that God said that stuck out most to you? You might have to go back and kind of look at chapter 38. You might have to do that. Let's see. I'll post another one too. You can kind of answer either one of these. Is the book of Job something that could help somebody? Like, I know what we learned what not to say to people who are hurting and suffering. That's for sure. There's great examples of what not to say in the book of Job. But are there things that are worthwhile that we could say? That's a good one, Natalie, that God's always with you. Because one, that's true. Like, we know that to be true. God is always with us. And sometimes when we're really just going through crap in our life, we feel abandoned. We feel lost. We feel alone. And that reminder that we're not is helpful. So that's a good thing. I like that. Good job. What's up, Adeline? I hadn't said hi to you yet tonight, but I've been seeing you down here in the chat. Gotta never leave you. That's a good one. Emily, it shows hope. Yes, absolutely. It shows hope because sometimes it's just like, see you, Perry family, deuces. Sometimes you just feel kind of hopeless. Like, okay, well, anything that I could have ever lived for is now I can't live for. So Emily, that's a good one, showing hope. Sarah, that's deep. It just shows that God knows what he's doing. And there's a specific reason for everything. I think some people have this idea that God's just kind of blindly just doing stuff and not really caring. And we have to know that God's not careless like that. He doesn't operate that way. So Sarah, that's a great reminder that he knows what he is doing. Katie, hey, it helps to know that someone had it worse than you. So, kind of look on the bright side there. That's perspective. It's good. For the second question, Keehan says it teaches us that when you're down in the muck, that God is always there. Absolutely. Lucas is reminding us that there's always a light at the end, that God hopes that no matter what, it's all part of the big plan. Keehan, there's a bigger picture. Moreland, you typed a lot. Let's see. To the second question, you learn from the friends to be there, but don't say weird stuff. Exactly. Just don't say weird, hurtful, mean things. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard. Learn from Job himself to never give up on God. That's big, Moreland. Like, never give up on God and lose that grasp. That's a big one there. Sarah says that always, as I always say during a hard day, God, do what you got to do. Hey, I like that, Sarah Osorio. That's a cool way to say it. God, you just do what you got to do. I like that. Tennyson, when he said, where were you when I created the world? Because it reminded me that he's really in control and has a plan and had a plan from the very beginning, even when it doesn't seem like it. Absolutely, man. Talk about shots fired, right? When God looked down at Job and was like, hey, when I made that mountain over there, what were you doing? Like, when I made the sunrise like 4 weeks ago, what were you up to? Sir, you weren't doing anything. That was nuts. That was nuts. Adeline says that Job could help so many people that can relate. I feel like if you can relate to anything in the Bible, then God's always there for you. Absolutely. You know, everything we read in the Bible has something good for us in it, right? It gives understanding. It shows perspective. It answers questions. It reminds us of who God is. It reminds us of who we are. Like every single story has something there for us. So even the hard, painful ones like this that we really don't want to read, they're good for us, right? It's good for us to do that. So, hey, while you guys are still there, don't forget, hop over to the discussion side of the channel, and there's a little link there for prayer requests. If you got something you want us to pray for and don't mind putting it on a public forum, drop it in there so we know how to pray for you. But you also, most of you have, one of these guys that work, and you can send a text to me or to some of our adult leaders, and you can say, hey, Blake, Everett, and Chris Yarb, are y'all still there? Y'all still hanging out? Or are you going? See if they're still in the chat. I don't know if they are. We're trying to plan something for some of our middle school guys that I'm trying to get Blake and Chris teamed up for. I got a crazy idea in my head. Yarb is here. So Chris, funny story, in staff meeting on Tuesday, I asked if the hub could buy 4 PS4s because I thought, what a great way for us to stay connected. Then, if we all just bought PS4s and, that way me, you, Chad, Blake could, kind of do some online gaming with some of our middle school dudes. Yes, Sydney, just for the boys. That request to buy 4 kind of got shut down just a little bit. And Keehan, since the PS4 got told no, I didn't even ask about, an Xbox. So here's the thing. If you have a preferred gaming device platform, put it down here. Like, are you PS4 people? Are you Xbox One people? Are you Nintendo Switch people? Are you online only? If you're a gamer, let us know. We're trying to figure out just some fun ways that we can, connect, on a Friday night or on a Saturday or something like that. So I did ask, hey, the Bible told me one time, you have not because you ask not. So I asked for 4. I figured, let's just go big, right? And kind of got reminded, hey, you can't go that big, right? Can't go that big. We're working on it. Okay. I got a plan. Don't worry. I got a plan. We'll figure it out. It'd be awesome. PS4 has better processors. Like, sure, Lucas, I had no idea. I think I might have an original Xbox somewhere in my house. Like, yeah. This is fun. So I tried Chris, tried Blake, got denied. But and anyways, hey, new hub is still coming along pretty good. So even though we're going through this crazy coronavirus age, things are still moving pretty good with the project. So just keep that a matter of prayer that our contractors and stuff are still able to kind of keep to a timeline that we're able to start this thing pretty soon. So new hub still rolling. Here's something that I need though. I could use some of your help. If you're an artsy person, like you like to do crafts, or you like to draw, or you like to journal or read, you like to create things, make things, you're kind of one of those peoples. I might need some help down the road designing a room for you in New Hub. All right. We want to make sure we have a space where just about anybody feels like, hey, this room speaks to me. And I get it. Like an arcade room might not speak to everybody. So We're trying to make sure that at least as many people as we can represent in the spaces, we want to make sure we have that kind of there. So I'm working to design some sort of a craft room. I'm not a crafter. I have no idea what that looks like. Yes, Sydney, a craft room, but hub version of craft room. So, but I'm not really sure what that looks like. Yes, Tennyson, I'm just excited for the room that's all whiteboards. Yeah, we got one of those, and it's going to be epic. Like, that room's going to be so cool because it's just a conference table, a punching bag, and then every wall on there is dry erase. Like, it's going to be amazing. So just brother needs some help designing some sort of a hub edition craft room, and like I want to fully stock this thing out. I want you to be able to walk in and it'd be like Hobby Lobby, but hub style, and you just like a roller rink. Yes, actually, Emily, you joke, but every floor in New Hub is going to be wood, so kind of technically we could make the entire hub a roller rink for one night. Like, why not? Hub. Eli Smith with the puns. Yes, that was awesome. Sorry, Keehan, you were too late on that one. Yeah. All right. So that could help me out. Some creativity there for the craft room. If you're into the arcades, though, if that's your world, my goodness. If everything in my head comes to life, whoo, it's going to be sick. Tennyson says a music studio. I'm listening. Okay. Huh. Music studio. Like somewhere where you can like go into a room and like just sing your heart out and maybe nobody else hear you, something like that. Beanbag room to have small groups. Natalie, that is a fantastic idea. One that I've already been thinking about. We have a room that's just nothing but hammocks hanging from the ceiling. That's going to be a pretty baller room just to hang in. So hammock rooms would be kind of cool. Beanbag room would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Piano, drums, guitar, ukulele. Moreland, it sounds like you're talking about the worship space that's already going to have piano, drums, guitar, not a ukulele, but sounds like you're describing that worship space. That's what I'm talking about. Bring your own musical instrument. Yeah. Love it. We could use the music room for worship practice 100% because that will be a thing in New Hub every week. Middle school boys need a completely empty room. Padded room, all white. That's funny. Sorry, middle school boys. You get this empty room here. Absolutely nothing in it at all. Not even a window. I'm going to put a window in there. No window, no nothing. Sydney, we need couches so I can take a nap. There will be couches. There's actually a room in New Hub that's kind of designed like a living room-ish. So there'll be lots of couches in that room. It's going to be pretty awesome. Eli's like, I'm pretty good with an empty room. That could be fun. No, Keehan, no water beds. No. No floods, man. No floods. Hey, Sydney, you ask a really good question. Will there be food for free? No. Hey, Lucas, appreciate you saying goodbye to us, man. Love you, bro. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I'm going to come hang out in your front yard one day next week, all right? Let's set that up. For reals. Free food, leave it to a Smith. Tennyson, there will be a room stocked floor to ceiling with food. It's called Brew 31, but that food's not free, all right? So just so you know, Brew 31, get your food and coffee. We need to have a pantry. Natalie, we ain't gonna have a pantry. We're gonna have an entire cafe. Like Yes, coffee. And Tennyson, when I say coffee, like Hub branded, roasted specific kind of coffee, like some for real stuff. We're not going to get that nasty like Folgers in your cup kind of thing. So, you know what? I'm really glad. I'm glad that made you smile this week, Kehan. Like, is this a place or at the Hub? What are you talking about, Emily? What you talking about? Explain yourself. Oh, Brew 31. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Brew 31 is in the Hub. That will be in the Hub. Brew 31 is our coffee shop in the Hub. That's the name of that space. It's actually 2 rooms. Again, if everything up here comes to life, it's going to be a pretty cool place. Tea? Oh, come on, man. Really? Tea for reals? Tea. We need to make a TikTok. I don't know what that is. Okay. Who drinks tea? Yeah, man. So I used to be a hot tea person. Hot tea and honey. I got hooked on that when I was in Russia, doing some study abroad back when I was in college. And hot tea, man, that's some good stuff. You put a little honey in there, and man, it's like just good for you. But I learned I'm a little sensitive to hot tea. Like gives me the shakes and makes me feel like I'm gonna pass out. So I quit drinking that junk. Yeah, can't do hot tea no more. Can't do it. But you know what? Here's my commitment to our hot tea people. There would be little bitty packs, little bitty packs of hot tea somewhere on a counter, and you can go get some hot water. And you can make it. All right. I'll just give that away because I couldn't in good conscience take $1 for that stuff. I don't think so. We'll have some hot tea there, right? But Gatorade, no ma'am, no Gatorade. There's water, there's coffee. Do you get Gatorade at a Starbucks? Like, come on, Sydney. This is a coffee shop establishment here. This is a real thing. You can't get Gatorade at a Starbucks. Come on, girl. We need fresh cookies made every week. 100%. Twix, you're in charge of fresh cookies every week in New Hub when we move in. Okay, we just need to go ahead and make that a rule and make that happen. A version of launch, yes, let's do it. Then we can charge people. No, we can't charge anybody. We can't do that. That'd be bad. Cake pops. Again, Twix is in charge of all sweet things. Is that how you spell sweet? Am I the only one that gets confused on how to spell sweet? That's a hard one for me sometimes. Y'all, it launched the dude. Wow. He's more likely to bring candy bars of the Twix variety. I don't know, man. Have you had his cookies at Christmas? Like, dude, man, those cookies that he brings are so good. So good. We need Twix on this thing. Why isn't Twix here tonight? Somebody figure out why isn't Twix here. We need to get Twix on the line, okay? We need to get him here. Man, oh man, yeah, so New Hub is going to be bothered. Someone said a room of death. What was that? Kehan, it won't be, it won't just be a room of death. A workout room. What? Let's see. Okay, Sydney, here's what's really funny. I'm going to pull up a picture and show this to you, and it might work, it might not. Let me see. All right. Because you might be joking, you might be serious. I'm not really sure. But I did send a picture to your mom the other day about, hey, could we put this in New Hub? Like, what do you think? All right, it's coming up. Here's what I sent mom. Actually, oh no, where's it at? It's not here anymore. What the heck? Well, just imagine, okay? Just imagine this amazing, like, monkey bar system that goes 360 kind of around the room. I had such a good picture of that. Why did it delete itself? It's not cool, man. I sent it to her. I was like, so just because, right? Do you think we should have this just because? It could be fun. Chris, would be a great way to get middle school boys like super tired. I'm looking at our text thread. Hey, Heather, thanks for joining us. Happy anniversary, by the way. If Steve's around, hey, Steve, happy anniversary to you too. I'm looking at our text thread. So I deleted the picture off of like my camera roll, but I guess it deleted. Yeah, that junk's gone. It gone. But whatever. It was a good idea. It was a great idea. The name of Hub Launch should be called like Higher the Jump Closer to God. This is so funny. Yes. We should make another playground designed for teenagers because the baby playgrounds are too small. All right, so, but Moreland, if we do that, do we have like a height requirement? Because that's going to eliminate some of our more vertically challenged friends whom we love dearly. So how do we make sure that they also get to play? I would hate to have, a 5'1" minimum height requirement, because then like there's just some people that can't play. We won't say any names. We won't say any names. Stools. That's funny. Thanks for the birthday wishes. You guys are great. No height requirements. Cool. A seesaw. How random would it be to have a seesaw just right in the middle of the floor? Like just a random seesaw right there. Good times on the seesaw. Hey, Sydney, I'm not even 5 foot yet. You can just eliminate the yet, because I don't think that's happening for you. Okay. Just go ahead and just take the yet off, Sydney. It's not in the cards. It's not happening. Okay. So I don't know if I told you guys this. We are trying to figure out, I say we, I'm trying to figure out if we can put an amphitheater outside in the lawn, like in the embankment over there. It's got all these bushes and stuff on it. See you, Emily. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Miss y'all. Trying to figure out like how can we put like a legit amphitheater into the embankment over there out in the front yard. So don't be too shocked if we figure something out. A pool? What? Yeah. Can we have like an in-floor aquarium? Like just dig up all the concrete, fill it full of water and fish, and glass it. How epic would that be? Bye, Heather. Wait, no. Is that Heather bye, like you're leaving, or is that Heather just saying bye to everyone? I don't know what she's doing. No, Natalie, not a poo. We're not, no mound. None of that. No poo. But pool would be fun. Pool would be great. Yeah, corrected yourself. That was great. Yeah. So anyhow, some fun stuff happening there. Hey, Eli Smith, I have some like gaming questions for you. Maybe me and you can link up sometime tomorrow or something, and you can educate me on some online gaming stuff. So we need that pool and theater combination. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. See, now we're thinking creatively. Caddyshack pool. Oh, Blake. No, Blake. No. Yeah, anybody who's good at gaming stuff, I could use some help trying to figure out. Like, I want to set up just an online gaming night. I don't really care how many people can join. That doesn't matter. I just want to somehow figure out how to limit it to like just hub people, and just have an online gaming night, just us. Maybe it's 4 at a time, maybe it's 8 at a time, maybe it's 50. I don't know. Since I don't do that world, I'm not really sure how to do that. A pool table in the pool. Yeah, because that makes sense. Like, it's called a pool table, but there's no water involved. I don't get it. Chris has been begging for a pool table ever since y'all destroyed the last one. Remember, guys, I was not a part of that. I didn't destroy last pool table or air hockey table. Those things were destroyed before I got here, okay? So I take no responsibility for lack of pool table or air hockey in the hub. My thing is, my hobbies are enjoyed by fewer people like chess. That's great. Hey, but Eli, for real though, yeah, there was actually. Hey, Moreland, Eli, I'll come back to you. Moreland, inside the hub, there's a chalkboard kind of thing on the wall, like right when you come in, where we sometimes when we remember we write announcements and stuff on it. I think that used to be the slate to the pool table, or maybe it's just chalkboard paint. I don't know. I know our stage has some of the old pool table on it too. It's got like I know our stage has some of the slate that came off the pool table. That was fun. Um, Eli, back to you. You talked about chess and things like that. Um, there's a room that we're looking at in New Hub that has just some really good like spaces for us to do things like that. Play chess or play cribbage. We really need a cribbage club in the hub, right? Like for real. Yes, Chris, that was a sad day for you guys. Like a real cribbage club. If you don't know about the cribbage, you're missing out in life. Um, so we'll have a space for that. Be kind of cool. See if I missed anybody up here. No. All right. Hey, I want to come crash in some people's front yards over the next few days. So if you're cool with that, I might be shooting you a text and just letting you know, hey, I'm gonna come over and sit in your front yard for a minute. You should come sit on your front doorstep and we can talk. Blake, I'm coming to you first. So um, just so you know. Got to see y'all, man. This sucks, like not actually being able to see you guys. So that's true, Sydney. I did come to your yard the other day, so that was good for me, man. Like I needed to see some people. Sarah says I live too far. That's not true. I don't think. Bye, Tennyson. See you later. We can shoot stuff with BB guns. Or I could bring some real ones. Just saying. All right. Wait, you came to their yard and not ours? I know. Look, I know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna come to y'all's yard, Tennyson. I promise. Promise. We're doing it. Let's see, 30 minutes. Okay, yes, Sarah. Sorry, you way out there. No, we're gonna have to like meet halfway or something. Let's figure something out. Yeah, have to figure something out. Smiths are competitive. Yes, y'all are. Man. Hey, has anybody talked to Lena or Public School Bradley? Anybody know how they're doing? I asked because I just got a text from their dad. I was like, hey, I haven't heard from Public School Bradley in a while. Blake, is he still alive? Have you talked to him? Or has anybody talked to Lena? What? How is the Calvary Baptist Church on here? And they're singing me happy birthday. That's nuts. Thanks, Calvary. That's funny. Let's see. Blake said something for now. I don't know what that means, Blake. Surprise. Adeline, you're that close to the school? Are you serious? More than I'm not sure. I have a sneaky suspicion that might be your uncle, but I'm not really sure. There's more people than I realize that can do that. I think it's an uncle, but it also could be Michael. I don't know. I want to say Uncle Alan. That's what I want to say. It's the Lord. That's what it is. It's the Lord. The Lord hacked into our Calvary Baptist Church account. That's who it is. Hey man, tonight was fun. I enjoyed the chatting, enjoy hanging out with you guys. For those of you who are still on, we're going to sign off in just a second, but let me know how we want to connect with our Sunday groups. I know we haven't done Sunday groups yet, and that's by design. That's not because we've forgotten about you guys, but we are trying to figure out what is the best way to connect with Sunday groups, and that doesn't have to be Sunday at 10 o'clock. So if you have a suggestion for that, if you're in a specific small group or if you're in a specific mentor group and you have an idea of how that group could meet for what would be Hub Sunday, but not on Sunday necessarily, shoot me a text if you would. We're actually trying to think through that. So just let you know. Bye, Sydney. So just kind of keep that in mind. We're not forgetting about our Sunday peoples. We're just little by little trying to make sure we're getting everything covered. All right. So 8:27. It's been a long day for this guy. It's most definitely past my bedtime now almost. So I'm signing off, dudes. Love you guys. Miss y'all. Bye, Sarah. Oh, Sorio. Appreciate y'all. We will see you again soon. By the way, another episode of Quarantining with Jesus posts on Friday. All right, so don't miss that. It's a good one this Friday. All right, I'm clicking the end stream. Good night. See y'all later. I hope I have many more, Keyhand. You know, I'm hitting a midlife crisis now, so I hope I have more. But time will tell. Deuces. See y'all.